Hidden in the Gospel of John is a teaching of Jesus that may have indicated that he was advocating for the overthrow of Pontius Pilate. The parable of the Good Shepherd, told by Jesus in John chapter 10, describes a shepherd who cares deeply for his sheep, knowing each one of them personally. Unlike a hired hand who might flee at danger, the Good Shepherd is willing to lay down his life to protect his flock from harm, particularly from wolves. The parable emphasizes the close, loving relationship between the shepherd and his sheep, illustrating Jesus' commitment to his followers. He contrasts this with those who don't truly care for his sheep, symbolizing leaders who prioritize themselves over the well-being of others. Or at least, that's what the Gospel of John would have you believe. To truly understand this parable, it helps to understand the pattern that occurs in the Gospels in regards to the teachings of Jesus. That pattern is as follows. The pattern starts with an original teaching of Jesus, in other words, what Jesus actually said. Then there is a declaration that no one understood what Jesus said. This is written not just to let the original reader know that those who heard Jesus didn't understand, but also to imply that the original reader themselves didn't understand, even though they may have. And finally, a reinterpretation of the teaching of Jesus that better fit the agenda of the biblical author. Let's walk through the parable with that pattern in mind, starting with the original teaching of Jesus. John 10:1-5 says, "Truly, truly, I say to you, the one who does not enter by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbs up some other way, he is a thief and a robber. But the one who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep listen to his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he puts all his own sheep outside, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. However, a stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers." Next comes the declaration that no one understood what Jesus said, and therefore neither did the original reader, even though they may have. In John 10:6 it says, "Jesus told them this figure of speech, but they did not understand what the things which he was saying to them meant." Finally, we have a reinterpretation of what Jesus said. In this case, we actually have two, which may indicate one of them was a later addition. Let's take a look at the first one. In John 10:7-10, it says that Jesus was the door. No one would enter except through him, and that he came to give life abundantly. The second reinterpretation, in John 10:11-18, says that Jesus, as the Good Shepherd, willingly lays down his life for his sheep out of love and protection, unlike a hired hand who abandons them in danger, and he has the authority from the Father to lay down his life and take it back, uniting all followers into one flock under his care. Okay, so if those were not the original interpretations of the teaching of Jesus, then what was the original interpretation? As I've shown in a previous video, other original teachings of Jesus were political in nature, and this one is no different. Shepherds typically symbolize rulers, typically kings in the Hebrew Bible, and it does in this case as well. This is where Pontius Pilate comes into play, since he, although not a king, was the one governing Judea at the time. But we have one more clue that Jesus was talking about Pilate, and that's the word stranger. It was the stranger whose voice the sheep would not follow. Pilate, of course, was not an Israelite, but a Roman, thereby qualifying him as the stranger in the parable. So, with all that in mind, I believe the original meaning of the parable is that the sheep represents Israel, while Pontius Pilate, as a stranger, symbolizes an illegitimate ruler. To learn more about the political teachings of Jesus, be sure to check out my video, The Lost Teachings of Jesus. That's it for today. Thanks for watching, and please like, share, and subscribe.